Let's say you're a financial advisor that is talking to a potential client, and let's say that you deliver comprehensive financial services. That is what you do. Then your potential client asks you a simple question: do you have a team? To which most advisors, most financial advisors, especially experienced advisors who've been around the block and have some skill, almost always say, yes, I've got a team. But in today's video, we're going to talk about what does that mean? When a client asks, do you have a team? What do they mean? I've looked at the data on this, and what a client means is often very different from what the advisor is thinking when they answer the question. So we're going to clear that up today. So I can tell you from my experience, I've been a financial advisor delivering comprehensive financial services since the year 2000. So lots of years, quarter of a century almost. I've been in the business prior to that. I actually entered the financial services industry serving individuals and families back in 1981. So I spent a lot of years deciding what business model to choose and to decide what am I going to deliver as far as client deliverables for my clients. So it took me a long time to dial in the business model, but in the end, in the year 2000, I focused on delivering truly comprehensive financial services. It was only at that point was I able to understand what a team even looks like. So I'm really only talking today to financial advisors who, like me, at some level, you are holding yourself out to clients as offering comprehensive financial services. So the question becomes, what does that mean? What are you actually doing? We will leave that for other videos. I talk about that in a lot of other videos, and you can go check those out. However, for this video, I want to focus specifically on what does it mean in a client's mind when they ask you, do you have a team? Now, I have also talked about this in other videos, so I won't spend a lot of time making this point, which is if you study the data, one thing becomes consistently apparent, and that is if your ideal client profile is an affluent individual or family, then the data that I've seen makes it very clear that the more affluent and the more successful the potential client, the more they are skeptical of the concept of a one-man band. So if you're sitting there thinking, oh, this is easy, I've explained, if a potential client asks me, do you have a team? I have a very simple answer, and it is no. I am structuring my business to be a one-stop shop, and I'm trying to make it convenient for clients. Therefore, no team, no fuss, no muss. You get me. I'm a single stop. It's more convenient for you. I'm just saying, and we're not going to talk about it in depth, but the more affluent, the more successful the client, the less convinced they are that's a good idea. As they get more affluent and more complex, potential clients tend to be more comfortable if you have a team, because in their mind, when you dig into the data, they're interpreting the fact that you have a team as you have a deep bench. And said another way, the reason having a team is important, especially if your ideal client profile is an affluent client, individual or family, they don't believe that any single person can master all the areas of personal finance. We are talking about financial planning, which is putting together plans to achieve the client's goals or objectives. So financial planning, but then money management, investment advisory, that's a separate skill. The idea of having deep skills in estate planning, wills and trusts and all that goes into estate planning, and having skills in tax, which means you are skilled at understanding how to create a strategy for an affluent family to create a tax plan. and you've got skills in the area of risk and safety, so that once the plan is created, you as a one-man band will then create a plan for how to increase the safety of the plan or reduce or eliminate the risks. And of course, a subcomponent of risk and safety is looking at the client's insurance, being able to determine whether they have the right insurance or the wrong insurance, or the right limits and the wrong limits. So the idea is that one individual is an expert in financial planning, investment management, estate planning, the idea of being an expert in tax and risk and safety and insurance. In the mind of a client, call them skeptical as you look at the data. So what is a team? Let me tell you what a client means when they ask you if you have a team. What they mean is that you've got people on your team, your staff, who are helping you. So they're asking if you have people working with you in addition to you who are creating these 5 strategies. It could be that you have 5, it could be that you have 3. It's less the issue than you being able to say, yes, I have a team member that will create your comprehensive written lifetime financial planning strategy. And maybe they also have skills in tax. Maybe they're a CPA and an accountant. And you say that in addition to the financial planning strategy, they will also create a comprehensive written lifetime tax strategy. And then who else is on the team? Oh, I have an individual that is an expert in estate planning, maybe even an estate planning lawyer. And that say, yes, I've got another team member that will help, that will create for our team a comprehensive written lifetime estate planning strategy for all of our clients and updated annually. But that same individual deals with insurance a lot, because there's a lot of life insurance involved in some clients' estate planning. So they will also, same individual will not only create your estate planning strategy, but also will create your comprehensive written lifetime risk and safety and insurance strategy to make sure it's perfectly aligned with the other strategies. And then I have an individual that's going to create a comprehensive written lifetime money management strategy. Maybe for now, that's you. You're able to say, yes, there are 5 separate strategies that are being created. And when the client says, do you have a team? Who are the individuals creating these strategies? So think in terms of fundamentals. What is it that clients think is happening behind the scenes without even asking you? In other words, when you read the data, what are the assumptions in the potential client's mind? In the mind of affluent, successful clients, when you say, I provide comprehensive financial services, what they are assuming is, do you have a team or do you do this by yourself? No, I've got a team. Oh, and so what does that team look like? You say, I have a certain number of individuals in addition to me who help create the 5 comprehensive written lifetime financial strategies that will cover all the 5 major areas of your personal finance. What they mean and what you need to be able to respond to is, who do you have on your team that is creating these strategies? But if let me tell you what I don't mean and what the client doesn't mean. They don't mean this. So a potential client says, do you have a team? And you say, yes, I've been in this business many years, definitely have a team. So if I were to get you side separately and say, so what did you mean when you said you have a team? You think, I have an assistant. I've got an administrative support person who helps schedule my calendar and confirm appointments with clients. Maybe they help with paperwork and making sure things get done, whatever the case. The client, it's fine if you include them, but you need to clarify if that's all you mean, because that is not what the client means. The client is not thinking, oh, you've got a team, I hope you have an administrative assistant. No. Or I ask if they have a team because I want to make sure they have an executive assistant, somebody at a high level helping with administrative work. No, that is not what the client's thinking. typically, on average, when you study the data. They are looking for people that are creating the strategies. So let me tell you something else that they don't mean. Potential client says, do you have a team? And you say, yes. Then I get you aside later. I go, what did you mean when you said you have a team? And you say, I have a tax accountant here locally that I've worked with them over the years. I've sent them referrals. Maybe even they've sent you referrals, but it's a referral relationship. So you send people to this tax person, but only under certain circumstances. So if the client were to ask it a little bit different way, or maybe you have something similar with estate planning, that what you meant was, I've been in the business a long time, and there are one or two estate planning lawyers here in this area that I've worked with over the years that I am impressed by and I have confidence in. And I send my estate planning clients to that professional. That's what I mean when I say I have a team. But what you really mean is only under certain circumstances. And you'll hear this play out when I hear advisors say things that I actually find hilarious, but they don't mean it to be hilarious. Because when I ask if an advisor has a team and they say, yes, I have a tax accountant that I refer to if a client has tax issues, or I have a tax estate planning lawyer that is on my team because I refer clients to that individual when they have estate planning issues. I'm thinking to myself, when they have estate planning issues, what are you talking about? When they have tax issues, surely you don't mean that. Because I'm telling you right here, right now, every single client has tax issues. Every single client has estate planning issues. The only question is there a strategy being created that's updated annually by either you or someone that you've hired onto your team to do that strategy in all of the 5 areas? It's not, okay, financial planning, money management, estate planning, insurance, and tax. Okay, so those are the 5 areas. The question is, who do you have helping you create those strategies? To which you say, I don't really create all 5 of those strategies. Then what do you do? And that's where I can't really say what you do. You know what you do. I don't know what you do, but I can tell you, having been in this business for 4 decades, what many advisors mean when they say, yes, we deliver true comprehensive financial services. And yes, I have a team, but I only refer people to them when they actively need some implementation services from a professional like that. But you acknowledge that in spite of that, every client, if your ideal client is an affluent, successful individual or family, they all have objectives, which means they all have financial planning issues. They all have investment management issues. That's evidenced by the fact that they've got investments. Therefore, if they have investments, you must have created a strategy and tactics for implementing the strategy. Or when it comes to tax, is there a strategy? The client thinks there is. And when it comes to estate planning and risk and safety and insurance, is there a strategy? That's the exact point I'm making. What clients assume and what they think you are doing behind the scenes when you say, I offer comprehensive financial services, it is just the fundamentals. They assume that you are creating strategies and tactics to implement the strategies. So are you? So the question becomes, are you actually doing what the client has assumed you're doing? You need to think about that. First of all, you need to understand that the client is assuming that you are creating a strategy for each of these 5 areas, because all affluent and successful people have financial planning, investment management, estate planning, tax, and insurance or risk and safety strategies. The question is, are you asking the right questions to uncover those issues? Then is there a strategy in place that's updated annually for each of those 5 areas? Tactics that are necessary. These are the action items and recommendations that you're providing to keep them on track with the strategy. There is no affluent or successful client that doesn't have issues in each of these 5 areas. So when you're asked next time, what is your team that you have in place to deliver comprehensive financial services, then I want you to come prepared to explain how these 5 strategies are being created and updated annually. Do you understand that it's an expectation and it's expected that your job is to also deliver lots of action items and recommendations to make sure that your client is on track in each of those 5 areas? If they're on track, the client also expects and assumes that even if they're all set and they're fine in all 5 areas, then you have the skill and experience to push the envelope and help them accomplish their own goals that they've shared with you. These are their objectives that require money and planning to achieve, that you are going to always recommend strategies to accelerate their progress. They've shared with you their objectives. These are their goals. If they're paying you the big fees, you report, yes, we've updated your strategy in each of the 5 areas. No action necessary there. So then why am I paying the big fees? Because we are looking at other areas of your financial life, including accelerating your goals. I'm certain, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you wouldn't mind accomplishing your goals even quicker than you planned, or to have a bigger margin of safety so that no matter what happens after you achieve the goal, you're not in danger of your plan changing because the market drops or whatever. So you're going above and beyond the call of duty by accelerating their goals, or you're looking at other areas like every large expenditure over the next 12 months, 36 months. You're picking into other areas of comprehensive financial services. You're using your skill and your experience to deliver at not just an average level, but an extraordinary level. You are delivering an extraordinary level of service because you are creating and updating 5 strategies a year. In the real world, there are always action items and recommendations in these 5 areas. Why? Because even if a client's on track, eventually they drift even a little bit off track because the markets or the client's situation changes. The only question is, are you keeping an eye on the client's situation closely enough to be able to create and update these 5 strategies on an annual basis? And if not, you need to change up what you're saying. So when a client says, do you have a team? Before you say yes, I want you to think about what I'm saying, and I want you to have a totally planned response so that you can respond to that question clearly, coherently, in a concise way that's compelling to the client, making them want to fire their current advisor and hire you on the spot. I think that's the ultimate goal. So that's it for today, and we'll see you in the next video.